Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Spence here at Core 4x4. I am under the Ram 3500 that we've been working on for the last few videos and doing a bit of a series on. Now, if you haven't caught those, we have already done the rear trailing arm upgrade to help prevent that axle wrap and that wheel hop that can happen in the back end. We've also done our heavy-duty adjustable front track bar and introduced our new sway bar end links for the Ram platform. Now, today we're going to be doing a massive steering upgrade for this truck. Now, this customer, he tows a lot, he hauls a lot. This truck is lifted 5.5 inches, and it drives okay, but we're going to make it drive a ton better. So today we're going to be highlighting a new product that Core is going to be offering, a heavy-duty steering upgrade, which will replace your factory tie rod and your factory drag link. And we're also going to be putting on a steering box brace for this truck. He does say he gets a bit of play in his steering from the box and from these old beat up tie rods, I'm sure. So we're going to massively upgrade all of that. And when this truck is done, it's going to be driving completely different. So let's get over to the table. I'll show you that steering upgrade and then we'll get into it. All right, so here's everything we are throwing on the truck today. Now, starting with our new 2.5 ton steering upgrade for the 25 and 3500 third and fourth gens. We build this out of 2-inch 70-75 aluminum. And what that does is it helps save on weight, but the aluminum also has what's called memory. So if you hit your tie rod on your factory one, it can bend, you lose your steering, you lose your toe. With the aluminum and the memory, it bounces right back. You don't have to worry about hitting a rock or hitting anything big and losing your steering or your alignment. So we build all our steering upgrades out of the 70-75 aluminum. Now, we've also partnered with Apex on all our tie rod ends. Fantastic company, make massive joints that have been incredible to use on all our products. Now, the steering kit also comes with this massive steering stabilizer clamp, because with the bigger round, you got to upgrade your clamp. So this is meant to be used with your factory steering stabilizer. We do also have options if you have hydro assist on your truck. We do have a clamp for that. Just reach out to sales when ordering and you can get that in the kit as well. Now, on top of doing the steering, we're also going to be throwing on a steering box brace here. Now, with these big trucks, this truck's almost 8,000 pounds. It's on 35-inch tires. And he's also thinking about jumping up to 37s. There is a lot of force on your steering and your steering box. So I do recommend this upgrade. This really helps solidify that box in place to the frame, because there's a lot of movement that can happen there, especially as you lift the truck and you get bigger tires. So this is a very good upgrade to have when you're upgrading everything else. Your steering box can become your weak point in your steering system. So we're going to be putting that on today. So install is pretty straightforward for the steering kit. It's just an unbolt and bolt on. The steering box brace, we do have to take the sway bar down, but let's get over the truck. We'll start tearing things out. All right, a couple things I wanted to mention before we started taking parts off. The lift kit that he put on does have a drop pitman arm, which also mounts the drag link under the pitman arm as opposed to factory, which goes on top. We are going to leave this because we have a drop pitman arm and a drop track bar bracket here. Our angles between the track bar and the drag link are very close to parallel, which is important when lifting a truck to prevent bump steer. So we're going to leave this pitman arm. Steering parts are notoriously tight because it is a press taper fit on all your tie rod ends. So these have been soaking in penetrating fluid, and I swear, like every video I'm talking about penetrating fluid, but it is your friend on older vehicles. Even this isn't even that old, but I guess it is 16 years old. Holy cow. Okay, I'm old now. Anyways, let's get the steering off, let's get the sway bar off, and then we'll start putting things on. Oh, that came right off. Oh gosh, glorious. Okay, tie rod and drag link are off. Luckily the tie rod on the knuckles came off pretty easily. The pitman arm was definitely a pain. We had like probably about an 8-foot cheater bar putting pressure down on the top, and then always use a hammer to shock it and put pressure, you'll be able to get those joints apart. Now we're going to take the whole sway bar off, and in the last video we put these end links on. There was a little bit of a miscommunication between me and the guys over there. These ones are actually too long for this lift, so we're going to be swapping out the end links anyways. So we're just going to take this entirely off to do the steering box brace. So yeah, we'll start taking that off. All right, for the steering box brace, all you have to do is remove your retaining nut on your pitman arm. For some reason, I thought we'd have to take the pitman arm off. Luckily, we don't have to do that today. The kit comes with this new sector shaft extension, I guess is what we'd call it. And it screws right onto your sector shaft where your retaining nut was with this new lock washer. That gets torqued to 185 foot-pounds, and then we can go ahead and put the brace up in place. When installing the brace, I highly recommend using 2 people because you have to maneuver the sway bar on top of the brace that sticks out, but the brace bolts on underneath, if that makes sense, if you can see it. So 2 people or a jack stand and yourself, but lining everything up by yourself is really difficult. Once the brace is on, you do want to leave these frame bolts or the frame bolts loose because you're going to have to line up your brace with the new sector shaft as you put the bearing on, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, these 2 bolts are torqued to 65. I'm going to tighten these set screws on the shaft here. Now that our bearing is on and in place, we can tighten up our frame bracket, and that should hold everything exactly where it needs to be. Beautiful. So before we get to putting the steering on, this stabilizer's probably factory. It's really ratty. I couldn't justify putting it back on. So we grabbed a new one. We're gonna swap it out, and then I'll show you how to get close on your steering. We're still gonna wanna do an alignment after this truck is all done because we're changing so many things on it. We'll take it to an alignment shop and get it done. But we'll at least get it close so we can drive the truck. But for now, this has gotta go. All right, we're not gonna tighten that down until we know where this sits because it has a rubber bushing, what looks like a rubber bushing, and we don't wanna blow it out right away. So we're gonna start by putting the tie rod in. It's really hard to measure your existing tie rod and your new tie rod. I'll show you how I do it to get close, but it's never really accurate because the way things sit and the bends and all that, it can be really difficult. So you can always do an alignment or a backyard alignment, but we're gonna get it close before we bolt the new one in. So I'll show you how to do that over there. Because this is all bent, we're not gonna measure anything here, but these ends here have the same diameter. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold the tape measure on this outside edge of this one and measure to the inside edge of this one, and that'll technically give us our center to center, which is what we're going for. And we're right at 61 3/8, and going outside to inside because the ends have the same diameter is the same as center on center. So 61 3/8. So what's nice about the new tie rod is we have these Zerk fittings that are right on center. So we can just put our tape measure right on those and get our measurement. Actually, nope, that's pretty good. Right about 61 3/8. So that should work. If your toe is off a little bit, not a big deal. Like I said, we should do an alignment after this. But we're gonna start right there at about 61 3/8. Get this bolted in. Now, your tie rod affects your toe. Ideally, you want a little bit of toe in, so this will be fine. And then your drag link is gonna set where your steering wheel is, if that makes sense. So if your steering wheel is ever off, it's because your drag link is off. All right, that'll work. Let's get this bolted on the truck. So the drag link's even more difficult to really get an accurate measurement on it, because not only is this one pointed up to the pitman arm and this one pointed down to your tie rod, you also got this bracket in here that's going to throw everything off, but we can at least get it close. And for you guys that are running your factory setup, this one would actually be flipped over. It'll be a little easier for you to measure, but because we're running our drag link under the pitman arm, it makes it even harder to measure, and it's hard to get center on these because they move, but we will get as close as we can. It's right about 36 1/4, so we'll start there. Okay. Luckily, he has a nice, beautiful tread. We're about 82 3/16. We're super towed out. Okay. All right, so we are super towed out. So we got off somewhere between the two measurements. So we're gonna turn this in. We're about 82 3/16 on the front, and we're like 81. So we're towed out like a whole inch, which is fine, because we got plenty of room for adjustment. So luckily we checked that. We're just gonna spin this in and then we'll recheck. Okay, that's just under 81 1/2. Being towed in a little bit is okay. Oh yeah, that's 81 1/2. Okay, so now that we have our toe as close as you can get with a tape measure and two people, we're gonna set up our steering stabilizer. Now, it's important when you're setting your clamp that your wheels are pointed forward. So for our steering stabilizer clamp, we got to determine where on the bar we're going to put it, and we ideally want it in the middle of the travel range of our steering dampener here. So we're going to pull this steering dampener all the way out with our wheels pointed straight forward. Okay, that's our max travel. So on this one we got about 9 1/2. So we're going to cut that in half and go to 4 3/4, and that'll be our mid range of travel, and that's where you want it bolted. So now we have room to go both left and right, and we're not gonna max out our dampener. So being at mid-range, which is on this dampener, 4 3/4 of shank showing, that's exactly where we're gonna bolt on our steering stabilizer bracket. Steering stabilizer is set, it's centered on its travel. We got our toe roughed in. Our steering wheel is probably going to be off, but we can check that when we get back on the ground. Literally, we're just getting it close enough so we can get it to the alignment shop and let them do their job. So we're going to torque everything down, throw a little grease in, and that is about it. So for the tie rod ends, the torque spec is 44 foot-pounds plus 105 degrees, and then we'll put the cotter pins in. These jam nuts are 250 foot-pounds. Now, we're not going to go 250 foot-pounds today. We're just going to get them snug so we can drive over to the alignment shop. But after everything is aligned and dialed in, we will want to really get these jam nuts down. And like any suspension part, you're going to torque it, drive it for a few hundred miles, And then the retorque is so important. There is a settling period on all suspension parts after you install that you need to drive it for a little bit, let everything settle together, and then do a retorque on everything, and especially on your steering components. So as we tighten everything down, we just kind of want our tie rods sitting level as they are with our steering stabilizer level. There's a little bit of room for things to move around here, but once we lock these jam nuts down and have everything torqued down, it'll sit how it should. So let's get into that. Plus 105 degrees. What is that? It's like a little over a quarter turn. It's good to me. Side so we can actually pull it out. Okay guys, that wraps it up for this week's video and the massive steering upgrade we've done to this Ram 3500. So we did the sector shaft brace, and we also installed our new 2.5 ton steering for the Ram 3500 and 2500 3rd and 4th gen models. This kit will be available on the site soon, and we're not done with this truck yet. Now, I'm already super happy with all the upgrades we've done so far, but I am even more excited for the last upgrade we have in mind for this truck, which next week we're gonna start with our long arm install on this truck for the 2500, 3500, 3rd and 4th gen models. It's gonna be a massive upgrade in drivability and flexibility and just overall functionality on the road. So stay tuned for that as we get our long arm kit on this beast. And as always guys, thank you for watching. Thanks for participating in our content. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because that really helps us out in these videos and what we're doing here. And as always, we'll catch you in the next one.